In this video dated January 18th, 2014, we're going to take a look at some of the recent updates to the SmotGo website. We'll go ahead and log in to the demo account. The first thing we're going to take a look at is the appointment dates. If you go into appointments, let's go ahead and click new appointment. Let's just click a random customer. Now the appointment date is required. The desired pickup date is no longer required. You could just blank that out. Click OK, and you'll see there's no errors saying that you need to have a pickup date or that the pickup date's incorrect. Now if you do use a pickup date, and let's say it's before that date, again, you can do that. It's just going to give you a little message here saying that the desired pickup date is before the appointment date, just to give you a notice. It's not going to prevent you from making the appointment. Now, if you leave the time out and try to save it, it's going to tell you dates expected. That's because both of these need to be filled out in order to be considered a complete date. And the last thing here is that when you change the appointment date, the desired pickup date is going to go ahead and jump ahead to that same date with you, and then you can just change it from there. Okay, the next thing we're going to look at is the ability to quick start an invoice now, or work request. You just come over here to more, go down here to new work request. You just pick the vehicle that you want to create the work request for. Okay. And there's your new work request. You didn't have to go into the customer's name, the appointments, the vehicle. You could just do it right there from the main screen. The next change is over here in the marketing. If you're using these messages, you can now resend a message or reprint a message. Let's go to this one here. I'm going to jump over to that message. We go down here to the message sent list. Now these are messages that have been sent. Go ahead and click on one of those and resend. And that's going to go ahead and resend that message. As far as the printouts, we can do the same thing here. Let's jump over to this message. Go down here to the message sent list. Pick one of the messages. Go ahead and click reprint. And there it is. Got our monthly special. You can now have a copy of emails that you send sent to you. So let's go over here and pick this invoice. We're going to email this invoice. And let's go ahead and put our from address here. And let's just say, use that message, use that subject. Now right here, send a copy. This will send a copy to your address as well as the customer's address. Click OK. Give that just a second. Let's go over here and take a look. And there it is. There's the one that went to us as the customer and the one that went to us as the shop. Back over here. Let's take a look at another little change here. Let's say you complete an invoice, you process it, and you realize that the odometer reading is incorrect, and you want to go back and edit that. Most of history is just that, it's history. You can't go back and change things that have happened. However, I've added the ability to update the odometer in the history. You would just go and click update odometer, and let's just put it 100,000. Click OK. And you can see the odometer's now been updated to 100,000. This allows you to keep more accurate records. Let's go back over here to an invoice, which gets into mileage as well. There were some issues that became aware of with the odometer, the mileage correction, the actual mileage. So let's go ahead and click Edit. You can now, as you could before, enter the odometer. Right here in the invoice, you can enter a mileage correction. And you may be wondering what this is. Let's say on the odometer, the car has 50,000 miles. However, the odometer was replaced at 10,000 miles. So theoretically, the car has 60,000 miles on it. So we can just put 10,000 in there, click Update, and you can see now we see the actual mileage on the car is 6,000 because it has 50 on the odometer, and it has the odometer is replaced at 10,000. You can do negative numbers as well. Let's say that you got a replacement used odometer and it has 60,000, but we know this car only has 50,000 miles on it because the odometer we took out had 50,000. So let's just go ahead and put in a minus 10,000 here so that the car actually has 50,000 miles on it. Now when you update this mileage correction here on the invoice, it also corrects the record over here under the vehicle. You can see it created that minus 10,000. Let's go back here. Let's change it back to 10,000. Back over here to the vehicle. And you'll see it change the vehicle to 10,000. So you don't have to go into both records to correct that. A lot of users have been asking for ways to export their data. If you go over here under Company Info, Export, you can now export your customers, your vehicles, your parts, your part location info. There's your parts, you have your basic part information, your part number, description, and then under the location info, if you're running more than one location, you're going to have different quantities and different physical locations for your part for each of your locations. And then this is the history of your invoices. So let's start with customers. There are all the demo accounts customers. You may want to narrow these down in some way. Maybe customers that were only created on a certain date. You might even want to use this for mailing out thank you cards, or we do holiday cards. And we can narrow it down to the customers, say, that have been in since a certain date. Let's just say, just for example, the last 6 months or so. Let's pick that date. And we got 189 now. You can export them in several different ways. You can download it to a CSV file, to a spreadsheet. You can do a PDF. You can do an image. You can do a spreadsheet, or you can do a Word document. Let's go ahead and do a Word document. Takes just a few seconds because there's quite a few records there. And there you go. There's your Word document with all your customer information. Now you probably find the most useful CSV format. You can import it into all sorts of programs. And there it is. All your customers. Dates, their IDs, addresses. And of course, if you want to do all your customers, just clear out that. There's all your customers. And again, just download that. And there it is. Let's go ahead and take a look at vehicles. Again, all your vehicles. They have the customer's first and last name, as well as the customer's ID. So you could piece those together with the customers you exported over here. The VIN numbers. You have the vehicle ID as well, so that you can link these up to the history if you decide to export that. Let's go to parts. Again, the basic part information, the part ID, part number, description, the prices, taxable, notes, categories. Let's go to the next one, which is part location info. And now you'll see that these part numbers will repeat for each location. Over here it'll tell you which location it is. The part numbers, suppliers, the quantities in stock, the physical location. The next thing is the history. These are all of your invoices and all the parts. Now it's going to repeat invoice after invoice because it's going to do that for each part and each labor. But you can take this, export it, piece it together in another program. But the information is here now to be downloaded. Let's jump over here to email history. These are all the emails that have been sent by the demo account. If you're using the email, you might want to go check, did I send that email? Well, now you can go take a look. You can take a look here, see what the email said. Eventually we will be adding the ability to resend these emails, but currently you're just the ability to go in here, check them out, take a look at your history, see what you've sent. We've added the ability to put a logo on your invoice. Go in here to your company information, settings. Now this logo's already been uploaded. But if you were to wanted to add your own or change it, click here, pick your file, and then upload it. And it's got to be a picture format. Over here, I'm going to go ahead and print an invoice. The logo will show up on your estimates and your invoices. There it is, right next to the name of the company. And again, on the estimates. Now, in case you're not aware, I want to show you this other invoice feature right now. Under settings, we have clicked Ink Saver. Let me jump back, print an invoice. Go back over to company info, edit, Ink Saver. We uncheck the Ink Saver. And we print an invoice. Now the Ink Saver invoice doesn't have the dark backgrounds like the regular invoice. We use these on a laser printer. Ink is not a big deal on a laser, and it just helps differentiate the information a little bit more. And these look a little better for an inkjet where ink usage is a concern. You now have the ability to add pictures or documents to go with a part down here under Images and Documents. First we have to pick a part. Let's pick this one. We're going to add a new image or document. Let's just say it's a picture. Leave the description out for now. Choose the file. Let's go over here to pictures. Let's just pick one of the Windows sample pictures. Click OK. Take just a few seconds to upload. And there it is. So you now can keep pictures of your parts here, and you can add as many as you want. If you click on it, it'll open up into a larger window. You can also upload documents. Maybe there's a certain installation document that you want to keep with the part. Maybe an updated part that requires some changes. You can keep that right there with the part, so it's easy to find. And the last thing we're going to take a look at today is the different formats for invoices. Maybe I should say the different printout types. You can now create an Excel estimate, an image estimate, it's a TIFF file, a Word estimate, and then the same for invoices, Excel, image, Word. If you want to export these in Word or Excel so that you can make small changes before you print them out for a customer, let's just go ahead and do it in a Word file. And you can actually go in here and edit this if you want to. And the same with the Excel. And then this way you can do with the information what you want. There are just two more features I want to take a look at in this video. The first is a quick glance to see when a part was last sold and how many were sold on a particular vehicle. Let's go into Sarah Dakota's invoice and we'll take a look at the first part here. Over here in this new column, History, it gives us a date and a number. This date was the last time that this part was installed on this vehicle. This number is the total number of times this part was sold on this vehicle. Not necessarily on this invoice, but total in history, and this was the last time this part was sold. Go ahead and add another one. And again, you'll see the date this was last sold to this vehicle and the total quantity ever sold to this vehicle. And if you want from here, you can open up the part, the last invoice, the last job. So we just want to go and see what was done when that part was installed last. You can open that up, and there it is. And the last thing we want to take a look at in this video is the addition of used parts. Over here under parts, there's a used part tab. Let's start by selecting a part. Used parts, there's none. You can add a new one. And you see it go ahead, it populates all that information for you. It's a used one of these. And you can put wherever it's at. Shelf 1. Click OK. Let's go back to that invoice. Let's add this part number. And you'll see it now shows us that there's one used one in stock. There's one other way to add used parts, and this is designed for tracking used parts to a particular vehicle. If you want to keep track of which vehicle you've taken used parts off of, just go over here to vehicles. Let's pick a vehicle, this one. We need to jump over to that vehicle's information. Under used parts, in the used part, we can look up the part number from here. Let's pick that one. See, it populates all the information. We can just put in our price, the location if you want, And there you go. Now it is attached to this vehicle. You can also attach it to a vehicle from the parts screen. Right here, just look up the vehicle and link it that way. The ability to add these used parts to an invoice has not been completed yet, but we are working on that now, and hopefully we'll be demonstrating that in the next video. That concludes this video.